Think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free. Cause I know that God know the combo. Go with Sister E. Love talk Sister E. God work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we going deep. Love talk Sister E. God's work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E. Think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free. Cause I know that God know the combo. Go with Sister E. Love talk Sister E. God work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we going deep. Love talk Sister E. God's work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E.
Hey, good people, what's going on? I have missed y'all. Let me do my quick shout outs. Haven't seen y'all in a good little minute. I would have my camera on right now, but I'm doing like some rearranging of my apartment. So bear with me. I'll start back having my camera on soon. So with that being said, what's going on? Timothy Davis, Diana Thomas, what's going on? Tyler 112. Mike, what's going on, Mike? What's going on with you? What is it? Yoda, y'all? You know I'm finna mess that up. What's going on with you? What's going on? Let me see. Ivan, Stephanie, Lay Maria. I think that's how you pronounce it. Eric, what's going on? What's going on? Only 6 games played. I think I met you already. Did I meet you? I think I met you at the conference. I'm trying to think about that. Only 6 games played. I think I met you. What's going on? Van P, what's going on? Charles West, welcome. Brew Queen, what's going on? Red Pill, Sleeper Sale, what's going on, family? I'm trying to find my glasses. Give me a minute because I can't see because we got a long show. I'm not going to be too long. I'm not going to be before the people too long because I am a little tired and I'm a little exhausted. It's been a long day. Y'all pray for me. I decided to put a shelf up myself and it weighs almost 100 and some odd pounds. So I haven't even got to that part yet. I've already started, so y'all just keep me lifted. Y'all laughing at me. I know y'all laughing at me. I was talking to Angie when I was trying to put it together. Angie, love. I was talking to you when I told you the shipment came and I was getting ready to put the shelf together. Sis, yeah, it's taller than me. So it's sitting in the middle of my room and I'm contemplating what I'm going to do with it. I tried, but I'll see. So y'all, don't be laughing at me, y'all, because y'all know y'all love to laugh at me. Who came to the conference? Whoever came to the conference and I met you at the conference in Savannah, give me a 1. Give me a 1 if you were at the conference and I met you. And give me a 1. Says I mean old, not owned. Oh, you looking at my title. So y'all, the title of today is The African Union Wants Reparations Owed to FBA, which is Foundational Black Americans. Y'all, this is a very interesting discussion because it's concerning to me. It's concerning to me because, again, it goes back playing into the concept of how can I put it? I'm trying to find a nice way to put it. I'm going to just play a few videos for y'all. And what I'm going to do is once the videos are done playing, I'm going to let y'all give me some insight on it. But what I am going to say is I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. It is some cussing on the videos for some of my saints that have tender ears. If you got tender ears, yeah, it's some cussing on it. But outside of the cussing, just listen to the message. This is a 22-minute long video. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to play here and there. and then we can go from there. So let me do my little disclaimer first, so I won't get a strike. Hold on, I haven't used my disclaimer in so long because I ain't been out here in a while. So also for everybody that sent me messages and sending me text messages and emails, thank you so much. About, I mentioned to the family about the loss of my mother, and a lot of people, y'all were pouring so much love into me at that time. And I thank you for it. I thank you for it. So keep my family in prayer as we kind of get comfortable in our new normal. So, all right, here's the disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, new reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Hold on one second, y'all. Back to my message. I'm sorry, my daughter had called me, so I'm going to reread it again. Let's see. Going back to it. My apologies. Hold on. Back to my. Hold on one second. Let me reread this again. Y'all had a phone call I had to take really quick. So, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, new reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So, with that being said, I'm going to put my little fair use banner at the bottom. Fair use. These videos will be played for education and research purposes only. So, y'all, I'm getting ready to play these videos. Now, keep in mind, this is good. It's going to be some cussing in there. So, for my saints that have tender ears, please just back away or just, take it, eat the meat, spit out the bones. I want y'all to hear what's going on right now in Africa as it pertains to the African Union when it comes to Black people receiving reparation. Then what we're going to do is we're going to proceed into the African Union site so y'all can see some of the verbiage that's there. So y'all can be very aware of what's going on. So let me share my screen. Let me see, not share. Y'all didn't change something with StreamYard. I ain't been out here so long. They done made updates and I'm confused. So here we go.
We need to talk about Africa and Pan-Africanism and how they're trying to undermine reparations for Black Americans and wage war on the chosen ones, Black Americans. Now listen, I fear it's much worse than we thought.
Hi guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome back to the channel. So before we move on to what people has to say concerning this issue, please subscribe to the channel, like and share the video to help the channel out.
Than we could have ever imagined. In another video, I'm going to talk about how Africa has sent their wicked vampiric progeny to undermine Black Americans, but that's another video. So I took this passage from their website, African Unity, 6 Regions, USA. They are trying to have a money grab for reparations, trying to incorporate Black Americans into their shenanigans. No one asked them to do it. I took a passage off their website. I put it into my ChatGPT. You know my ChatGPT is called Cerebro, and Cerebro is going to what they're really trying to do, their real motives. I'm going to come back at the end. Please stick around. So here's the passage I put in there. Analyze this passage from African Unity 6 Region, USA. What is it saying about reparation for Black Americans, and what is it trying to do?
All right, let's break this all the way down like only Cerebro can. Spiritual, strategic, and sharp. What this passage says, surface level. The African Unity 6 Region USA Foundation, AU6R USA, is part of a broader African diaspora initiative aiming to mobilize and unite people of African descent, especially in the US and Canada, create collaboration and representation between the African diaspora and the African Union, elect US-based reps to the African Union ECOSOC Assembly, aligning with the AU Constitutive Act Article 3, build sustainable partnerships between Africa and its diaspora for a wider renaissance. What it's trying to do, Decoded. This is a Pan-African diplomatic integration effort, not a reparations-focused initiative. It's attempting to reframe Black Americans as part of the 6th region of Africa, which includes all African descendants living.
Is it choppy, y'all? Okay, let me do this. Let me go back. You know what it is? I'm in another web browser, and the web browser does this. Let me come out of this web browser, and I'm going to go to another one. So I'm going to step away, and then I'm coming right back. Hey, y'all, I'm back. Let me see. All right, let me play the video. Y'all, I am so frustrated when I use Edge. Edge is crappy. It is crappy. So bear with me. I'm finna go and play. I'm gonna start it all over again. So y'all, let me just get a little extra for y'all. When I tell y'all the stuff that I am seeing online about this is a bit concerning. Reason being is some of this stuff ties back to the Ghana initiative, the year of return. Y'all remember that? They've been watching us, y'all, with this year of return, and they're trying to capitalize on it. And a couple of the YouTubers are going to bring it up. I mean, not TikTokers. They're going to bring it up. And when they bring it up, you're going to see the dots being connected. Family, this is why we have to be careful. We have to be careful as God's people, because people will utilize that for their gain. So ultimately, let me just lay it out for you. Let me lay the premise out for you. So ultimately, the article ties to the fact that they said we are our buying and our spending power. I think its spending power is worth $1.7 trillion. We bring $1.7 trillion to the GDP. I think, yeah, GDP. And they know it. And this is just African Americans. What we consider to be foundational Black Americans. And they are utilizing that. The AU is saying, let's bring this to the table and make money off of it. Ultimately. Now, this is not something that I'm just getting from TikTok. I actually went to the AU site. And when you read it, the verbiage is real sketchy, but ultimately it's saying that, yes, we want to fight for reparations, but we want that money invested into our countries. Y'all, when I read that, I said, what? So ultimately, think about it. If we would have handed our citizenship off, let's say all of us decided to move over there, run to Africa, flee to Africa, switched our citizenship over, we would have been bound by their laws. And they could have fought for reparations, but guess what? They could have taken our money from us and left us high and dry and said, no, you're going to take that money and you're going to redirect those funds to the investment of Africa. Now, keep in mind, reparations is not something that is supposed to be allocated to us. That is that mule that we were supposed to get. They want that 40 acres and a mule, which is ours, because guess what? This very nation that we live in, the very nation that everybody always say, oh, you love Babylon. We, brick by brick, built the economy. Brick by brick, built this nation and made the nation what it is now. And if it was not the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors, guess what? They wouldn't be where they are now. This country and the economy that we have because of our people translated into other countries, and they were able to make it and sustain themselves. So what you're saying is AU, African Union, is, yeah, we didn't have anything to do with the foundational, the building of, we're not going to give you an individual check because we feel like y'all don't deserve a check. We want the check to come to us. You're going from, like Doug Rice said, you're going from one slave master to another. They put a price on our head and they said, you know what? We sold y'all, those people, because you got to think about it. The ancestors sold us. We can't forget. Africa had a hand in the actual slave trade itself. Let's not sleep on this, y'all. They had a hand in it. And they ended up shooting themselves in the foot because guess what? After they sold us, they said, okay, we're going back into Africa. We finna take all y'all resources. So now you're saying, wait, hold on. We sold you. We want to buy our property back. They want to go from, that's not your property. It's our, so they're treating us foundational. Doug, I'm going to drop the link. I want to play a couple of videos and then I'm going to drop the link and get some views. Foundational Black Americans, they want to take what our ancestors did. Not to mention hijacking the Essence Festival. Have y'all heard about how they hijacked the Essence Festival? They hijacked the Essence Festival, which is a foundational Black American event that was built for Black people, that was built upon Black culture, Black American culture, and they hijacked it this year and didn't make a dime off of it. Because Black folks figured out what was going on. Them vendors was like, nope, not going in. Y'all remember Essence Festival? That is Black culture at its finest. I've been to Essence Festival numerous times in New Orleans. That used to be my 4th of July. After I would go to spend time with my daughter for the 4th of July, we go hang out at my mom's house. We go to my mom and dad's house for the 4th, because I was living out of town at the time. After the 4th of July, I would go and with my friends and go to the Essence Festival. And the Essence Festival makes so much money off of vendors. Because I remember at that time I was working for Walmart. Walmart had a booth. That's how much money the Essence Festival made. That Walmart made it their business every year to have a booth at the Essence Festival. And they would get some of their Black employees to go and represent them at the Essence Festival. They wouldn't let me do it because they said, you're not going to do no work, ma'am. You're going to go and party. Which I was like, that's cool. The best concerts. It was the most beautiful. Thank you so much for your contribution to only 60 games played. Thank you for your super chat for $49.99. Thank you. I'm taking all blessings. But that right there, the Essence Festival is the essence of Black American culture. I'm not taking it. I don't take anything away from Juve that happens in New York. That's Caribbean culture, and I respect their culture. Black Americans are not trying to hijack Juve. They'll participate in Juve, but we don't hijack it because we respect the Caribbean culture that's here. We don't try to hijack their stuff. Just like Carnival, you don't see Black Americans trying to hijack Carnival. We respect y'all's culture. But now Africans want to come and hijack the Essence Festival. I heard they got on the stage and said, welcome the originals to the stage. How can I cuss? Can I say one word, please? It's not a bad word. How damn dare you? How damn dare you? You gonna say the originals? The original slave traders. That's what I'm gonna call you. The original slave traders. So you hijack our event And they get mad. Guess what? When we don't show up. Black America showed y'all. And then you utilize Target as one of your supporters. And Black Americans had already said they done with Target and literally shut Target down because they wasn't shopping at Target. So you get up there and you say the originals, but then get mad when your seats are thin. When have you ever known the Essence Festival? The Essence Festival. When have you ever known the Essence Festival to have seats that were available? Essence Festivals sell out so quick to the point that you literally have to get nosebleed seats for the concerts. So they went up there and decided they gonna hijack it. They had a jollof rice eating contest. How dare you? How dare you? This is not an African event. This is a Black American, foundational Black American. I use that, Doug, and I use it correctly. When I say foundational Black Americans, that means we are the foundation of this country being what it is as far as the money, the economics, the culture. We are the foundation. We created this. But yet and still, we created the good in it. I'll say that much. But yet and still, you want to utilize something that's not yours and make it yours, and then have the audacity and the arrogance. And then get mad when foundational Black Americans or Black Americans say, I'm not having it. I'm not coming. The hell with your event. We make Essence Festival. We are the Essence Festival. And bounced on them. Bounced on them. And they did not make the money that they expected to make. So with that being said, I'm going to play Get Wise. You get what I'm saying. I understand we call ourselves Israelites. I'm using foundational Black in context to the definition I provided. That's it, because we are Black Americans. We, just like I don't knock people call themselves Caribbeans. I don't knock people calling themselves Black Brits. I don't knock them calling themselves, guess what? Even calling themselves African, because Africa is a colonizer's name. Let's call that out. Because Africa was not the original name. So all of us are functioning in the colonizer's name set, because guess what? We're here. We're in the system. Even when we become Yasharel, it's going to be some changes in the name itself. So get past saying foundational Americans, you get what I mean. But yet and still, they got the game messed up, and Black Americans are no longer playing to this game. And family, people used to always say, Sister E hate Africa. I don't hate Africa. I put my people first here in this land. I put my people first, because we are the ones that they try to take our culture, rip it from us, and then say it's not ours. From the music to the food to the clothes to the we are one of the most innovative groups. I would even say with the Americans and the Caribbeans, because the Caribbeans themselves, with the combination of the African Americans within New York, created something called hip hop that changed the whole game. But yet and still, Africa is trying to rape you of your resources. And realize they're not just trying to rape us, but they're also trying to understand it ain't just gonna be us. They want y'all's too, Caribbeans. All my Caribbean friends in here, all my friends from the islands, that includes you all. They're not trying to come for just our money, as far as Black Americans. They're coming for y'all too. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. They're coming for y'all's money as well. So I wanted to explain to you all why I say what I'm saying. I don't dislike Africa, but I don't like the foolishness that they're doing right now. My thing is this. You want us to come and help you build yours. When we built ours, you came and you benefited from it. And then say we don't have no culture. No, we're not doing that. People love to say, oh, the diaspora wars. We're not warring with y'all. We're doing our own thing. We ain't bothered about what, we're not fighting with the Caribbeans. We're not fighting with the islanders. We're not fighting with the Africans. We're not fighting. We're just trying to live as living in this country called America. And guess what? We built, thank you, and nobody helped us. But you want the benefits, AU. You want the benefits from our blood, sweat, and tears. But when we were over here building it, none of y'all came over here and said, let's go save. Let's see what we can do. No, you sold us and you thought you were going to benefit and capitalize off of selling our people and end up turning on y'all's own heads. Don't play with God's people. So yet and still, y'all trying to, so y'all get where I'm going with this. So I'm getting ready to play this video again. Some of my friends and my friends that are from Africa understand I'm not coming for y'all. I'm not. But I don't like what the AU is doing. And I'm not going to allow my people to walk around with blinders on, thinking that, whoa, we're going to Africa, it's going to get better. They let you know off the rip, it's not finna get better. We run over there in masses if you want to, because guess what? They're going to take your money that your ancestors, the blood, sweat, and tears, from your ancestors in those plantations, they worked hard to build. They said they told you in your face what they doing. They said, we're gonna take y'all's reparations and we're gonna invest it in Africa. We ain't finna let y'all have y'all money. We're gonna invest it in Africa. Really? Call a spade a spade. I'm not finna sit here and play dumb, just like, oh, Mother Africa, run back. They want to take every ounce of your money and your ancestors' money and invest it in their country and leave you high and dry to figure it out. Take it however you want to take it. My counterparts out here that are pro run Africa, don't be stupid, y'all. Don't be stupid and fall for this. Because what's happening is they're playing in your face and they're telling you, if you come here, we taking y'all money. We taking y'all money. They saying it to y'all, and they and playing in your face. They playing in y'all face and laughing. You understand how people keep saying, "Let's go back. Things are gonna get better in Africa." Let me tell you something. You better make peace where you at. A place will not give you peace. Your peace comes from the Lord, the Father. It don't come from a place. Wherever you go, if you have the Father, there's peace right there. If you here, you got peace. If you over there in Great Britain, you got peace. If you in the Caribbean, you got peace, because your peace does not come from a place or man. Your peace comes from the Father. Don't let them play y'all for stupid. All these folks, they're scamming y'all, telling y'all to run over to Africa. Let's run. Mass exodus. And Africa said, come over here if you want to. We taking all your money. We taking all your money. I'm going to go and play the videos. And again, I'm not talking about the people. Let me clear something, because I got some good friends that I love dearly that are from Africa. It ain't them, because some of their leaders at the AU is robbing them blind as well. We're talking about the leaders. You got a situation right now, South Africa, and I think it's in Nigeria. They fighting right now because South Africa decided to build a hospital and say this hospital is only for South Africans. And Nigerians and Ghanaians and all the people that look like them can't even get into the hospital. Have y'all seen that? They dog each other out. The leaders dog their own people out. That's why I tell people, y'all running over there to a land where it's known for mistreating and dogging their people out. And when you get there, guess what's going to happen? They're going to do the same to you. And they're going to be even worse to you. If I go anywhere, I'm going under the Father's direction. If the Father tells me to go to wherever, if he say leave right now, pack your stuff, go to Afghanistan, guess what? I got to do what he's supposed to tell me to do. But when their system is corrupt as it is, and man, I'm gonna tell you something. Don't run. What is it, from the pot to the frying pan? What old people say. So I'm telling y'all, people were mad at me when I was saying I ain't for this whole thing of go to mass exodus foolishness. because it doesn't make sense to me. It's not biblical. And I sat and the Father said, be quiet. Sit silent. Say what I told you to say. And now say nothing. And I'm going to show. And he is showing us straight in our faces what they going to do to y'all. I got friends now that are stuck over there. Friends now that's stuck over there. Y'all better pay attention to the writing on the wall and stop listening to these folks telling y'all to pack all y'all stuff up and go to a land with $20,000 in your pocket. And then guess what happens? You lose all your money and you don't have no land. And then you got to come back to this country broke. Talk to somebody from Tanzania. She said the same thing. She said, so many of you Americans coming over here with $10,000 and get robbed when you walk through the door and then go back home broke. They never had an intention to bring y'all, but y'all don't let these folks play y'all in y'all face. If you do it, do it in a manner of you're not fleeing. Have your money and your things and your ducks in a row before you do that. Don't run listening to somebody telling y'all flee, flee, flee. Babylon is a worldwide system. Yes, I'm coming with that heat today. It's a worldwide system. It's not just America. And I dare anybody to come and say something about it. I don't care at this point. Because right now, I'm going to show y'all proof of what's really going on and what's going to happen when you go over there. So I'm finna share with y'all. I told y'all when I saw this, I said, yep. So excuse the cussing that you're about to hear. But I need y'all to hear this. I need y'all to hear this because I care about y'all. And I don't want to see people lose their money. But they face. So I'm finna share this. And then we're going to go to the AU's site. And you're going to see what they're saying. I ain't finna just show TikToks. I'm finna go and give you receipts. And I'm going to one section. There's one section there that they give you a lot of diplomatic words. They give but when you really read and pull back the layers to it, you'll see what I'm talking about. So again, I don't knock people to visit Africa, go to Africa. In fact, I want to go and visit. I want to do some things. But I'm not going in the pretense of I'm fleeing and I'm running and fleeing Babylon. Man, look, let me tell you something. I'm going to trust the Father. Whatever happens on this earth within this world, I got to trust the Father. So I'm finna show y'all how they playing in y'all face, though.
Americans. We need to talk about Africa and Pan-Africanism and how they're trying to undermine reparations for Black Americans and wage war on the chosen ones, Black Americans. Now listen, I fear is much worse than we thought.
Hi guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome back to the channel. So before we move on to what people has to say concerning this issue, please subscribe to the channel, like and share the video to help the channel out.
Than we could have ever imagined. In another video, I'm going to talk about how Africa has sent their wicked vampiric progeny to undermine Black Americans, but that's another video. So I took this passage from their website, African Unity 6 Regions USA. They are trying to have a money grab for reparations, trying to incorporate Black Americans into their shenanigans. No one asked them to do it. I took a passage off their website. I put it into my ChatGPT. You know, my ChatGPT is called Cerebro. And Cerebro is going to break down the nuance, what they're really trying to do, their real motives. I'm going to come back at the end. Please stick around. So here's the passage I put in there. Analyze this passage from African Unity 6 Region USA. What is it saying about reparations for Black Americans, and what is it trying to do?
All right, let's break this all the way down like only Cerebro can. Spiritual, strategic, and sharp. The African Unity 6th Region USA Foundation, AU6R USA, is part of a broader African diaspora initiative aiming to mobilize and unite people of African descent, especially in the US and Canada, create collaboration and representation between the African diaspora and the African Union, elect US-based reps to the African Union ECOSOC Assembly, aligning with the AU Constitutive Act Article 3U, build sustainable partnerships between Africa and its diaspora for a wider renaissance. What it's trying to do, decoded. This is a Pan-African diplomatic integration effort, not a reparations-focused initiative. It's attempting to reframe Black Americans as part of the 6th region of Africa, which includes all African descendants living outside the continent. Get Black Americans to align politically and economically with African nations through AU programming. Encourage Black Americans to see themselves as stakeholders in Africa with an observer seat in African Union affairs.
So is this good far as is it breaking up, or are y'all getting a good hit one if this is a good hit one if you're not having any issues? If you're not having issues, if it's good. Okay, cool. I'm gonna keep playing it.
What it says about reparations for Black Americans, directly or indirectly, it doesn't mention. Instead, it reframes identity and responsibility, avoids U.S. culpability for slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, etc., shifts the conversation from Black American justice claims against the U.S. to global Black unity, encourages Black Americans to reinvest their energy, time, and resources into Africa's renaissance, rather than focusing on reparative justice within the U.S. system. This framing has serious implications. If Black Americans are redefined as part of Africa, i.e., foreign, the U.S. could potentially deny lineage-based reparations because they'd be seen as part of a transnational identity, not a domestic harm group. It plays into what some Pan-African ideologues and international.
So really, what he said, I'm gonna play this back for you. I want y'all to pay attention to that part. And I knew this was gonna happen.
This framing has serious implications. If Black Americans are redefined as part of Africa, i.e., foreign, the U.S. could potentially deny lineage-based reparations because they'd be seen as part of a transnational identity, not a domestic harm group.
Oh, you see that? Pay attention to that. There's some of y'all that's running over there. You pretty much, if we were to buy into this foolishness, you're pretty much saying null and void on your reparations. And it's going to be, you get what I'm saying? Be careful and be leery. Be leery of this.
It plays into what some Pan-African ideologues and internationalists do, decentralize Black American lineage and dilute the specificity of U.S. harm. What you should be watching for: observer status equals no real power. You're watching decisions, not making them. There is no mention of chattel slavery, reparations, or Black American justice claims. The AU's Article 3Q is cited to validate this political merge, but that article doesn't guarantee economic justice, citizenship, or reparations. Final word from Cerebro. This is not a reparations movement for Black Americans. It's a Pan-African lobbying structure designed to channel our political energy away from the U.S. government and toward African developmental interests. You're being asked to invest, organize, and build, not to receive what you're owed. It's about inclusion without restitution. It's a spiritual bait and switch. You're African again. Now help rebuild Africa. But ain't nobody asked what's owed to the descendants of America's unpaid debt. If you want, I can pull up Article 3QQ from the AU Constitution or show you who funds this foundation, because something tells me there's more under the surface. Let me know if you want to dig. All right, let's dig deep and grace this with nuance, the real secret truths beneath the surface. WOB 1, Pan-African Strategy versus U.S. Reparations. A 2025 Year of Reparations by the AU. The African Union has formally declared 2025 its year of reparations, signaling a continental campaign for reparatory justice, focused on financial redress, cultural restitution, land, systemic reform, and healing. Cite Turn Search 2, 11 Turn Search 27. It's a Pan-African diplomatic movement, aligned closely with CARICOM and continental summits, Abuja 1993, Accra 2023, that resulted in the Global Reparation Fund and the launch of specialized institutions like the African Committee of Experts on Reparations. Cite Turn Search 2023. The approach is forward-looking, seeking not just acknowledgement, but structural transformation, healing through Ubuntu, racial justice, and international collaboration. Cite Turn Search 6 and B. Contrast with AU 6 Region USA. The passage about AU 6 Region USA makes zero mention of reparations. It speaks only of political mobilization, representation in AU institutions, and diaspora unity. That's a red flag. It's a strategic redirection of the diaspora's focus away from reparative justice in the U.S. system. It positions Black Americans as stakeholders in Africa's development, not claimants of justice at home. 2. Why that matters. Identity transformation. By reframing Black Americans as 6th region Africans, it's possible to sideline reparations locally. If you're no longer primarily a U.S. lineage group, what's the basis for U.S. reparative claims? Political diversion. Energy gets channeled into diaspora advocacy and Africa-U.S. partnerships, not reckoning with historic injustice in the U.S. Tokenistic engagement. Observer status in the AU gives a symbolic platform, not the power to demand or enforce reparations. Nash 3. AU's reparations framework outside the USA. Here's the broader context. Accra Declaration 2022 and Accra Proclamation 2023 shine a spotlight on reparations, launching an international fund, global conferees, and campaigns cite Turn Search Torch for Turn Search 23. African institutions are reaching beyond symbolic gestures, pushing for legal mechanisms, material redress, return of art and land, and debt cancellation. Cite News 2 Turn Search 27.9. 4. Hidden agenda. What feels orchestrated here is the diaspora's gaze being realigned. From U.S.-centric accountability, like H.R. 40 Coates' work, demands for wealth equity, land, housing, education, toward Africa-centered partnership, aligning with AU mechanisms, ECOSOC representation, and continental renaissance projects. The clues you were searching for, no reparations language in the USA passage, means it's not a movement for justice in America. The AU and CARICOM are building real funds and policy paths, not lip service. The sixth region pitch is political social redirection, not institutional reparative justice for slavery and Jim Crow harms here. What you can do: 1. Hold the AU 6th Region USA accountable. Demand clarity. Does this group support reparations claims in the US, or are they deliberately avoiding them? 2. Stay connected to continental reparations mobilization. Tap into the Global Reparations Fund, the AU Committee of Experts, and follow legal movements emerging from Accra. 3. Center lived experience and lineage. Use Coates' model. Root reparations in lineage, policy, economic redress. Do not cede the narrative to identity cosmology alone. Conclusion. The AU 6th Region USA is not your reparations movement. It's a diaspora network that reframes Black Americans as Africans in service of Africa's development rather than claimants of justice at home. Meanwhile, the real reparations fight is happening on the continent through AU CARICOM frameworks, legal mechanisms, funding structures, and global solidarity. If you want access to the Global Reparation Fund, drafts of the Accra Proclamation, or how HR 40 aligns disjoints with this continental narrative, I got you.
Black Americans, keep in mind, this is from their website. Theme of the year, Reparations 2025. This article is February 15th, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Where is the reparations? We didn't ask you to do that, Africa. We didn't ask you to speak on the behalf of Black Americans. Black Americans, you see that? Like we've been saying, they want to mobilize, use Black Americans to build up their economy in Africa. They sent their vampiric leech progeny here to undermine us. We're going to talk about that in another video. We're going to connect the dots, but listen, they want your power. That's all they've ever wanted. Did you hear the scheme that my cerebro uncovered? They want you to build their land. It talked nothing about reparations in there. It's all a scheme. They want to trick you out of your birthright. It's the red herring. They don't like you delineating, because when you delineate, they can't cosplay and they can't benefit from leaning on these terms, African American and Black American. We've all been talking about this for years, months, and even weeks. This is why I don't play with a lot of Black immigrants. I don't care what they say. They can never gaslight us, because we are the intelligent ones. We do our due diligence. We do our research. We ask questions. Of course, Pan-Africanism can't work here. This is not Africa, and we don't have the same goal. They want you to move your voice into their politics, make you politically centered Africa, make your identity Africa, let go of the United States of America. We've been telling you this. I'm going to do another video. I don't want this to be too long. Put them on notice.
About to be a motherfucking rant, so hold on. Africans, come to the motherfucking front.
I'm gonna kind of skip past her because she is a little bit she's a lot. Let me skip past her because some TikTokers I'm just not finna play. I listened to hers, and excuse the cussing. I apologize to my seasoned saints. All right, let me try this.
Trade, or they migrated here on their own accord. You feel like your ancestors came over here through the Atlantic slave trade, or they migrated here on their own accord? Let me tell you, it is time for us to tap into our business. Africans is working with American leadership to tap into the Black reparations. Yeah, the money that belongs to us, everything that belongs to us, they are saying how they were affected 400 plus years later, and now you're saying that you're the fuck affected by the Atlantic slave trade because you came over here, you got your ass whipped, you got beat, you got mentally destroyed, emotionally destroyed, you got all of that. So now you think that you're owed something, bitch. You're owed nothing. But what you do owe is an apology to Black Americans. See, you know, I ignored that.
Hey, Pastor Kelly, I think I sent you the link. I'm gonna send you the link. Come on up. Doug, I'm gonna let you up in a little bit. Let me let Pastor Kelly come up first, because me and him talked about it this morning. So I'm gonna drop that link, well, this afternoon rather. I'm gonna drop that link. Pastor Kelly, come on up. Thank you for your super chat. You're welcome to come up. You next, Doug, but let me let him up first, because me and him had to talk about it. So, okay, I got you, Doug. I got you. You coming up. All right, I'm gonna mute out and I'll finish playing the video.
The Essence Festival thing, not my monkey, not my circus. But now that I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing. They're trying to destiny swap. They're coming over here. They're taking off their attire. They're adapting to our attire. They're using our slang. They're eating our food. We have no culture, they say, but yet when they come here, they are no longer looking like an African on American soil. They're very much looking like an American. But yet we have no culture. So what are you doing? What are you eating? What are you wearing? What are you listening to? What the fuck are you engaging in? If we have no culture, you're engaging in Black culture because you're damn sure not engaging in white culture. You're damn sure not doing that. So you think that something is owed to you, baby, the way that we need to throw the fuck hands. And and the only reason I say throw the fuck hands because how dare you? How dare you? Nah, throw the fuck hands. Like, I really feel like it needs to be some hands thrown, and I really feel like we need to handle them and let them know, take your ass back the fuck home. It ain't shit over here belong to you.
These countries are fighting over Black Americans, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Trump saying birthright citizenship was only for Black Americans. You all call him a businessman. What do businessmen do? Go for the people who make him the most money, correct? Then a while back, this guy, he's from the Asian community, and he was basically saying how the Asians and Black Americans need to come together. When there's literally Africans, there's Caribbean, y'all have so many selections, but you all choose the Black Americans. Now I'm hearing that Africa, the year of the return was for us to go back and to invest into the continent, not for us to come back to just, come back home. It was to invest. I saw that they're trying to use the Black American dollar to build up Africa. Now, I saw a lot of videos of people talking about Essence Fest and, Red Lobster and how they're moving into those spaces, and that's what they're using the money for. I just don't understand why the people who were sold in the slave trade literally have to help the people who had a dealing with the slave trade. And what's even more messed up about this, I was looking at a young man's post. He's from Ghana. He was talking about how there was a fire that broke out. There's a market in Ghana that's very popular. And they said that they were putting water down, but it was actually gasoline. People smelled it. All of a sudden, the market burned down. And then they said the next day, that's when they granted citizenship to Black people, mainly Black Americans. And this is just my personal opinion, but I just feel like it's messed up because you're basically destroying how they make their money for people that's going to make you money. You're looking at your own pockets. You're not even looking at your own citizenship. I mean, your own citizens. Why the fuck would we go there? You're treating them like shit.
Did y'all just hear that Africa said that they are included in African Americans reparations? So apparently Africa and the African Union, this 2025, they basically told America that they are leading the cause for reparations for African countries and people affected by slavery. So basically, they found out that African Americans have 1.7 trillion in spending power, right? That means collectively, we got the bag. Collectively, we got the bag. That of which we already knew. We didn't have to shout it from the rooftops, and we damn sure didn't need anybody else clocking our bag. And now it's at the point where the African Union is working with America and top American officials to both colonize the African American culture, but also to receive reparations. Did you know that they have now, the African Union have now been in talks with America about us, African Americans, being their property? Back when Big Pooh with the Loose said that he was going to pew pew America, and I told y'all, oh, don't worry, they sending boats around to come pick us up. That was why. Remember when I said that they consider us Africa's property? That was why. That was why them boats was going to be here. Because they consider us Africa's property, which means that Africa and the African Union is now fighting America for our fucking reparations that they didn't even help. You know how fucking delusional you gotta be to be trying to destiny swap with the same people your ancestors literally helped sell into slavery. Y'all literally caused it. Had you not fuck, what was the theme of the Sinners movie? What was the theme? You are the only person standing in between the demon getting in and out of your home. You are the ones opening up the door, the threshold. You have to invite them in order for them to come in and do that shit to you. Had you not invited those colonizers in there, they would have not only not sold us, but also, because wait a minute, they did turn around and put the people that were in power in shackles. Okay, they said, well, we're done with them. We also want you too. And whoever was left over was just left over after the abolishment of the transatlantic slave trade. Do you know how insane you have to be to think that you are entitled to some money that does not historically belong to you? Knowing good and goddamn well it had nothing to do with you. You may have been impacted by the slave trade, but the reparations that this country owes us is not because of the actual slave trade where it started. It is because of what has been done to us as we were here in this country. If you did not help build this country on your backs, if you have not been here, if you have not been shooting with us in the gym, you should not have your grubby, nasty ass hands out asking for money on our behalf. And the worst part about it is, but African America, they doing it right under your nose. That is why people feel some type of way about what's going on at Essence Fest. That is why we feel some type of way about y'all continuously trying to claim that we don't have any culture. And then the first opportunity you get to try and capitalize off of our culture, you got your hand out looking for something. You got your hand out looking for something, constantly wanting to be the center of attention, constantly wanting to be the how do I put it? The one that everybody wants to be around. The one that everybody wants to be a part of. The one that everybody wants to pour money into or steal from. Golly, it's fucking exhausting being an African American. It really be your own people. Because when I tell you the hate comes from every single angle of the diaspora, and then to then turn around and think that you have the opportunity to eat off of our reparations is insane. I don't give a damn what money America gives to y'all. That shit ain't ours. That don't have African Americans' name on it. When we separated, we had to build our own cultures. We had to take some of our, our historical culture that was passed down to us back when our ancestors was in Africa, and we had to make something new of it. It's just the audacity to me, because I vividly remember the majority of my life being told by people from across seas and being on the internet and hearing people consistently try to undermine, undervalue, and to consistently try to tear down Black African Americans and what we contribute to this world, but then got your hand out looking for our reparations. That's insane. Are you not embarrassed? You should be embarrassed. That is insane to me. Also, bitch, we are not your motherfucking property. Have you lost your motherfucking mind? Yeah, she was dropping some jewels. And yeah, she cussing a lot. She finna go off. I'm trying to get to when she not cussing. Finding out the way that these white folks got to find out every other day. We are not your property. The fuck the other day. We are not your property. The fuck is wrong with you?
I don't think we should start this forward war.
I really wanted y'all to hear her part. That right there, when I saw it, and when I saw, because I follow her on TikTok. Her name is, I forgot her name, something goddess. I drop it in there. I drop her name in the chat. But she popped up on my, because she's on my For You page on TikTok. And when she popped up on it, I saw this caption at the top. And I was like, what? So when I saw it, I said, hold on. So when I listened to what she said, I went real quick to the AU site the next day. Not that day, but the next day. But it's very interesting. What are your thoughts, Pastor Kelly? Welcome up. Welcome. Hello.
Can you hear me, sis?
I can hear you.
I want to say peace and blessings to you. I want to say peace and blessings to everyone that's watching this live tonight. I want to say welcome back. It's kind of feel like a fish out of water seeing you live. It's been so long. I'm like, is this real? No, but it's so much to unpack, and with this, I'm not surprised, as you and I discussed earlier, and some of those that have followed me on some of the teachings that I've given on um, the battle or the war of Gog and Magog that we see in Ezekiel chapter 38 through 40, I believe. And one of the key things that it says is that it talks about how uh, African nations was going to support Magog. It lays it out. And so that was one of the things that I brought up, especially when dealing with that, not trying to open up uh, a can of worms, but, when I was dealing with that doctrine of the flea doctrine or the second Exodus and those things, and how many were, fleeing, so to speak, to find, I guess, salvation or refuge to different countries over in Africa. And many of them have gotten scammed. Many of them, and one that I like to use is Isham Burgundy. His whole testimony that he moved, he and his wife and family moved to multiple locations. And for the most part, they always felt like they're immigrants. They're on the outside looking in. So it's so many layers to it, and it doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't surprise me, especially when we look at what's happening right now. Remember, I was showing videos, giving the warning almost a year ago, maybe a little longer than a year ago, about what Donald Trump said he was going to do, the purge, and how he was going to target our community, and bringing back up clips from his his first administration, his first term rather, and the things that he was doing. He was dispatching this ICE group to our communities back then. But again, I guess many of us have memory of the goldfish, but a lot of what we see right now, I'm not surprised. I'm not sure if you mentioned it but even with this whole ICE thing and sending people that they deem to be immigrants to other countries, well, Sudan is on it. They're even talking to Uganda. They're in discussion with a number of African countries to take those that they kick out of this country. And one of the things that I know many of our brothers and sisters, sometimes we could take on the mindset of the oppressor, as far as being divided, by taking the approach that, hey, that's the Haitians. We have nothing to do with them. No, we're the same people. And they can literally, when I say they, this government can literally take citizens and send them away. And it's already happened. So what happens if your daughter or your sister, your son, your spouse, whomever, just go to the grocery store and get taken, just disappear? They can literally be taken and have been taken. Many not even have not even acknowledged. I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Over 3,000 Jamaicans was kicked out of this country. You got people that was born to military personnel who served in this government and had children on military installations outside of the United States, and their children, some of their children, have been kicked out of this country. One man who is a citizen by way of being born on a military base through his parents serving in the military got sent to not Africa, but to Jamaica. Some are actually being sent to Haiti. different territories. But anyway, I know I'm saying a lot, but going back to my main thoughts, I'm not surprised.
Yep. And the thing is this, again, we have people that we deal with in Africa. Great example, Kohin Hamadishi. He's gone now, but I'm not speaking about, and I know you're not as well, Pastor Kelly, the people within the continent itself, but the leaders. There is a plan that's being played out that they've been working on for a couple of years. And from what I'm hearing, this goes back into 2019, the year of the return. And now it's becoming full circle now. And it doesn't, and it doesn't shock me. Hold on one second. I was barking.
And family, while Sister is doing what she's doing, and keep in mind when we start dealing with many of these, when we go back to slavery, right, and understand there were African tribes going against other African tribes, and many of them were Shemitic tribes. I'm not just going to say it was all Hamitic. When you start understanding, when you start breaking down like the Dahomis, you even break down just many of the tribes in Nigeria territory, the Igbos and all that. Many of them were going to war with one another. And with that, part of that war, part of that battle is to take possession of the women. And, in many cases, the men were sent or sold into slavery. I mean, that's just a fact. So let's not just get hung up on Hamite, because when you look at it and when you start understanding the details of what occurred, what took place, when you start dealing with these different tribes, some of those tribes, again, are Shemitic tribes, not all Hamitic. So, with that being said, go ahead, sis.
Okay, so with that being said, if you go, and this is the site, and I'm gonna drop the link to the site for everybody to read for themselves. One thing we're gonna do, and I know Pastor Kelly is gonna do as well, we're not gonna tell you something and lead you based on what we're telling you. We're gonna tell you go and research it yourself. That's very important. That's very important in this walk and this awakening. Don't take just our word for it. Research it as well. So I'm gonna drop the link and I'm gonna pin it. And while I'm pinning it, Pastor Kelly, you got something you want to say?
Yeah, and real quick too, because I'm looking at the chat and I'm going to say this again. Especially, I see someone made a post about scripture states that we should avoid being part of Babylonian plagues by leaving. There's not a scripture that states that, right? And that's part of the problem. Now we are told to separate ourselves, but when we get to Babylon in Revelation, the book of Revelation, this is dealing with a system of man, a worldwide system. So when we look at, for example, the institutional race, that is a worldwide system that introduced a tiered system that's based upon the caste systems of the Romans. Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, Islam, all of these so-called Abrahamic faiths are part of that Babylonian system. So when we start understanding the Babylon, for example, during the days of Jeremiah, that Babylon has been destroyed. And that Israel was told to return back to our hometown, our homeland, so to speak. But when we're dealing with Revelation, we're dealing with a spiritual Babylon in which there's a worldwide system that the United States is connected to, Russia is connected to, China is connected to. All of them are connected to it. African countries, nations are connected to, as Sister E is pointing out with the overall topic for tonight. So let's not again box ourselves into this thing of saying that we had to flee Babylon, physical Babylon, and the only Babylon you recognize or recognizing is the United States. That's not biblical, right? All these different nations are in cahoots, regardless of what side they're on, of enslaving us. We've been enslaved by pretty much the entire world and scattered to what? The four corners. So again, when the scripture tells us to flee Babylon in Revelation, it's to flee the system of Babylon, to separate ourselves from the system. And that's what's happening right now. We are coming out of those Abrahamic religions, and other systems, not just the Abrahamic religions, but we also could say the governmental systems. All right. So again, as far as the plagues, guess what? Guess what? We have the power to speak plagues into existence. That's Revelation chapter 11. All right. So again, when we start dealing with the plagues, we're dealing with a system. And I'm not going to debate it on here because I see someone wanting to go in about, hey, where does it say about system? I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to hog this up here. When you start understanding the mark of the beast, see, when you read in Revelation chapter 18, it's a continuation. It's not a separate individual chapters. It's a continuation of chapter 11. It's a continuation of chapter 10. So when we're dealing with the system, literal Babylon is no longer here. Yep. Literal Babylon, physical Babylon is no longer here. It is the system. So again, what I said, and I'm not going to debate it here, I said that there's nowhere that tells us to flee physical Babylon because physical Babylon no longer exists. We're told to come out of the system of Babylon. I'm sorry about that, sis. Just wanted to address that because someone in the chat trying to twist my words around when I made it clear, and I've always taught that we're dealing with a spiritual Babylon, not a physical Babylon. All right, go ahead, sis.
All right. So let's see. So let's get to it. So let's look at the background and the context of what's going on. So the background with this whole 2020, I told y'all, I'm not going to tell y'all anything. I'm going to show you for yourselves and for you to go do the research. I pinned it at the very top so that you can go and look at it for yourself. So go to the website, and it's the African Union website, and it's the 2025 year of reparations, justice for Africans, keyword Africans, and people of African descent through reparations. Y'all remember the year of return when Ghana pushed that whole year of return? Keep that in the back of your head. So this is just explaining that the organization of the African Union and the African Union have been working towards reparations and justice for historical crimes against Africans and people of African descent since 1963. That's interesting. The AU has supported initiatives to advance justice and the payment of reparations to Africans, key word right here, as well as the restitution of cultural artifacts and heritage pillage during colonization and enslavement. So key thing is they're pointing out Africans. They're not talking about us being the reparations conversation, what we've been working on. So the continental movement for reparations began with political activism and the prominent politicians, including Chief Mashood Kush Mahawu Alawala Abdullah of Nigeria. The first Pan-African Conference of Reparation, sponsored by the Group of Eminent Person and the OAU, was held in 1993, leading the Abidjan Proclamation of Reparation. This conference emphasized the importance of reparations and the moral debt owed to African people. Key. So this goes into that what this is and the history behind it. So go and read it. Key thing though that I caught right here, it says in 2021, the AU held a continental expert workshop of the restitution of cultural properties and heritage in the collaboration with the government of Senegal and the Open Society Initiative in West Africa. Now keep in mind, 2021, you're going to see why I'm saying this. The workshop focused on developing a common African position paper on the restitution of cultural properties and heritage and framework for the action of negotiation of the return restitution of illicitly trafficked cultural properties from the continent. In 2022, the African Diaspora Summit on Reparation was co-organized by the government of the Republic of Ghana. Now, let's stop right there for a minute. What was going on in 2019? What's up?
And real quick too, because I'm not sure if it has it there. Does it list all the nations, African nations that are part of the AU?
Then we can look that up right here.
Yeah, because I think that's going to also help them as well.
So I'm going to share this. So here are the members. You got Central Africa, Burundi, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad, Congo, DR Congo, Guinea, Gabon, São Tomé. Yeah, São Tomé, that's very interesting. Here are all of the countries. Here are the West African countries. So here are all the countries that are members of the action. Oh, I thought I was sharing it.
Oh yeah. I was waiting for you to share it. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I was sharing it. Let me share.
I know you got to look. You're a little rusty. It's understandable.
I am. I'm a little rusty. Okay, so here are all the countries that are. Here are all the countries for Central Africa. You got Eastern Africa, South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Kenya. You got Northern Africa.
Now think about this, family, right? Remember, as we stated about when I mentioned about the mark of the beast being the system 666, the system of man, right? I know many end time prophecy enthusiasts will bring up the European Union because, hey, when I was deep into the end time prophecy, that was one of the things you brought up. You would bring up and go in on the European Union when you start breaking down the 10 horns and things along that line, right? But this is a system of man right here, the AU, the African Union, and look at some of the nations that are connected there. You know, and many of these nations is either they're in cahoots with China, they're either in cahoots, or if not China, Russia, or the United States. And so my argument has always been is that regardless of who it is, whether it's Trump, Putin, and all those guys, none of them care about us. None of them care about us. Now you take it a step further, right? Some of these countries that you go to, right? They that is listed on here are their primary religion, so to speak, is Islam, right? Some of these countries, you go in there and you start bringing up anything outside of that religion, you can disappear easily. They can disappear you. I mean, I've been to even from being in the military, those are some of the briefings that I was subjected to, making it clear, be careful of what you speak to the local people. So that way you don't start or incite, a situation, whether it's Islam. I mean, some of those countries you cannot bring up Christianity. At that time, I was in Christianity when I was still in the military, and they will make it clear that don't engage the locals with any type of religious discussions because of the territories that we were in. And
See, the
so,
interesting part,
go ahead, sis.
that's six. They're trying to impose something called a six. I think the sixth region, and that sixth region are the African diaspora people that are outside of the continent. And really, when you look at the concept of what they're doing, they're giving the U.S. a way out without truly saying that they're giving them a way out. Because me and you talked about this. They're asking for $1.7 trillion in reparations. But technically, they $1.7 trillion, but actually they owe $14 trillion in reparations. So under the table, we'll do 1.7 trillion. We'll create a sixth region. And what happens is, if you become a part of this union, you really just said null and void on any reparations as it relates to us as Black Americans. You really just forfeited your ability to get that reparations. And that's the goal when you look at what they're trying to do. They're trying to get us to forfeit on what they owe us by saying, we'll bring you in. And then you're dealing with a nation that's already jealous. Their biggest fear is that what if they give us reparations? That means that Black Americans have an opportunity to rise above. And not just Black Americans, but you got the Caribbeans. But I'm looking at Black Americans alone.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to rise above your counterparts and your peers.
Yeah, and think about this.
That happened.
And to your point, think about this, because you said that they were asking for what, 1.5 trillion, right? And I know when I was doing all these statistics years ago, as of, I believe it was 2019, the reparations that was owed to our community here in the United States at that time was at almost $13 trillion. So we know it's even higher, right? And basically it's almost sounding like coming up with a settlement, you know what I mean, among the United States, like as if they're trying to come up with a settlement using us, so to speak. They get this settlement and they could say, U.S. could say, hey, we don't owe you. We gave it to this over here.
Correct.
We invested this into the African Union, whatever the case may be.
That you're a part of.
Yeah.
And let's not talk about the panel in California. We can't forget about that. When they were fighting for reparation in California, the Black Caucus. The Black Caucus have been infiltrated by a lot of, when you're dealing with the African nations that have come up here and gotten citizenship, and now they're a part of these caucuses, or these Black caucuses, or these special panels talking about reparations, and the majority of them are Africans. A lot of them are Africans. They're not foundational Black Americans. They're not. And the ones that made that decision in California, some of those were African. They wouldn't even bring it on the floor to talk about reparations in California. California.
And you know what, too, to your point, you mentioned how, I think you mentioned about names, as far as could forfeit reparations. I correct me if I heard you wrong. But when you think about it, right, family, reparations, and when you start looking at the laws of this land, names have meaning. For example, when President Obama declared that our community will be will be called African Americans, truth be told, that actually, with these names, is forfeiting reparations. Because on the books, when you start looking at those slave books, what's on the laws? What term is used in the legal term? Is it African Americans, or is it blacks, or is it Negroes? Is it colored? So those names have meaning, and the more we get away from what's actually on in those laws, let's just say if we say, all right, just call me African American. Well, they could go to those laws, and if in those law books has Negro, but yet you're referring to yourself as African American, you put it on your birth certificate, you put it all through the legal system, that can technically forfeit you from reparations because of those legal terms.
Correct. So we have to be very careful in what we do and what we say as what we consider to be. The only word I can use is foundational Black Americans.
Yeah,
That's
and one last
the,
point, sis. I don't mean to cut you off. Think
uh-huh.
about this too. White people, Caucasians, are in this country with IDs that says African American. Elon Musk is considered an African American because of him being born in Africa, and he's an American citizen. But if he called himself a Negro, you know what I mean? That'll raise more of a red flag. But African American can be used by pretty much any ethnic group, especially if they were born in Africa and is a citizen of the United States.
Correct. So we gotta be careful. We gotta be careful with how we say certain things. But again, it goes back into what is the agenda. The agenda is ultimately to put us in a place that we do not have the rights anymore to scream reparation. If we tie ourselves to this African Union foolishness and call ourselves a sixth region, we have forfeited any conversation about reparations. And I believe the Most High is not going to allow that to happen, because this is why He brought this to everybody's attention. Because again, if we didn't know this, we would have went over there with the concept of, oh, we're joining our people and this, and the Father said, no, this ain't what I want y'all to do. Let me show you what they're really doing. So I'm gonna give you a little glimpse of what their goal is with the whole initiative itself, far as this African Union Reparations 2025. Strengthen UA's institutional framework. Develop partnerships with Caribbean communities and African diaspora to enhance collaboration. Establish an operationalized key mechanism, including committee of experts on reparations and African reparations funds. So they're saying they finna build a panel to make a decision on what they finna do with y'all's money. Does that sound like that, or did I miss something?
Well, that's and just to your point, but let's just say if we here in the United States says, okay, right? This is almost like, Pan-Africanism, right? But this can basically, it's almost like if you're not careful on what we do here, let's just say for the Essence Festival that you mentioned, we can start co-signing on things that we may not necessarily endorse. For example, say, hey, the AU is going to now represent our cause. So when monies are, let's just say, released, it's going to go to the AU, and then they'll be dispatching it however. So that's what this kind of make me think of Pan-Africanism, but also kind of like an organization trying to be over, or a centralized organization of all that is scattered abroad.
Yes, and that's the goal. They want to take our funds and tell us what they're going to do with it. It's no longer our funds, it's the AU's funds. Operationalize reparations as a flagship project. Convey strategic dialogues and develop a framework for implementing reparations and racial healing initiatives as a flagship project. So they pretty much promote policy and legislative measures to ensure project success. What is a flagship project, Pastor Kelly? You know what that is?
Actually, looking here, when they say flagship, that's going to be the highlight, their main project. We say flagship, that's pretty much their main project.
Yep, it says a large, often prominent initiative that serves as a leader and representation of a larger effort. So they're saying that we're going to create a project and we're going to be the face of it. It's going to be a bigger project. It's going to be funded so that we can make a decision on how we're going to utilize it, but you still won't get the money. Does that make sense?
Because guess what? They're going to say it takes resources.
Correct.
And to be part of this so-called organization, they're going to have all kinds of, when you think about fees and things like that, or this costs this costs that, this costs this, almost like, what's they call it? The class action lawsuits. Who makes the most money out of it? The
Correct.
lawyers, right? Let's just say they could say they won $100 million class action lawsuit, but all the legal team, after they get paid whatever percentage, then the rest of it is dispatched to whomever is in that class action lawsuit. So they'll walk away with, let's just say, 60-70% of whatever's released, and then they'll divide the rest of it among whoever is part of that class action lawsuit. In many cases, it could be 1 million people. So in the end, you get, $20 out of it. But their legal team, their organization will get what? The lion's share, so to speak.
Yep, that's the bigger picture. Then the next one is developing an African common position. It's kind of scary.
Repeat that one again. I didn't catch that one.
Developing an African common position. That's the next one.
So look at what it says. Create a unified stance on reparation, incorporating input from experts. So who are the experts?
Correct.
Is it someone that have not been enslaved, but yet trying to speak on our behalf? Because I'm not going to mention any of the tribes, but there are tribes, right, that are Israelites, and they feel like because they have not been enslaved, that their fight is a little different from ours.
Yep.
They can be in cahoots with some of those European countries that have enslaved us, because in their mind, that European nation or that group of people didn't do anything wrong to them. So they're fine. They don't have to take our plight.
Correct.
I'm just not mentioning names. Some of where I'm going at with it, but I'm not going to mention names, just so that way I won't, put it out there like that.
Yeah, I don't care about you mentioning no names at this point. So, and it talked about experts, member states, and relevant stakeholders. They ain't telling you who. Then this is the one right here. Mainstreaming reparations into development policies. Let me pull this in a little bit, so just in case y'all don't see this part.
Yeah, that part right there. Think about this, family. Developing which one was it? Number 4. So look at what this says: in mainstream reparation into development policies. So equip member states and regional economic communities. So think about it, member states. So this is basically telling you that, let's just say the United States say, hey, we're going to release reparations to the Negro, right? This organization is basically setting itself up to say, all right, if we all say we agree with this, that money will go to them, and it'll go to the stakeholders. Think of how they define the stakeholders here,
Correct.
right? The stakeholders is defined in bullet number 4, where it says member state and regional. So what are the member states? Those nations that you mentioned, those
Yep.
55 nations. Those are truly the stakeholders and the people that are running those things.
And the key thing is equipped member states and regional economic communities to integrate reparations. Integrate reparations and racial healing into their strategies and programs.
So guess what? Basically, in a nutshell, to fund those groups, to fund those different nations. That's
Now,
all it is.
now let's
It has nothing to do with us as individuals. For me,
correct.
and I'm sure we all agree with it, no, give me mine directly.
Yep.
I don't need a middleman.
Correct. And when you look at, let me go back here. These are all the countries, y'all. This is the African Union. I'm glad Pastor Kelly told me go to the union, to the member states. These are the member states, y'all. I'm gonna go down here because these are the member states we really been talking about. Where is it?
I saw Tanzania in there.
Tanzania, you got Ghana, you got Burkina Faso,
Yeah.
you got Republic of South Africa. All these countries that we've been talking about, we need to go to. They're a part of that member
Wow.
state.
Angola, Botswana,
Yes.
Nambia. Look at
Mali.
Zimbabwe. That's where primarily many of the limbas are, in Zimbabwe. And remember some of the things that Kohen Hamadishi, as you mentioned, some of the things that they're struggling with out there.
Yep. Yep. So these are the member states. And let me pull this in because I need y'all to see this. These are these countries. Some of the people in our community are saying, let's go there. We can work with the countries and build our own. And they're literally a part of the AU saying, let's take this reparations and we're going to take we're going to take that money and we're going to fund our initiatives. Now, these are the ones, Burkina Faso, South Africa, Tanzania, all these countries that says, come. And you're next, Doug. Let me finish up. Come join us. Come join us. Let's build together. Forget about America. Let America go. Let America go. Come over here and pretty much want you to swap your citizenship. If we would all think about how much of a catastrophe that would have been, Pastor Kelly, if we would have, all of us, let's say all the Israelite community and all the churches, all of us decide to move over into Africa, build there. We would have signed off on being another region from the diaspora, and every conversation about reparations would have had to go through the AU. Y'all would have got a single dime.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, absolutely it makes sense. That's basically like, you paying someone, right, to help you get a job, right? But you already got the job, but they jump in the middle of it and say, I want to make sure I'm helping you make this connection, and they get their monies off the top. But the job is already going to be yours. I'm not sure if that's a good example, but
no, that's a good example.
But in a nutshell, they have no stake at reparations, right? And when you look at, for example, the Roman Catholic Church gave reparations to many, if I remember correctly, to some African nations. They didn't give it to the United States. You know what I mean? So it's a lot that goes with that. And as you pointed out here, laying out these different bullet points here, I mean, it really exposes exactly what their intentions. Look at number 6. Look at number 6, sis.
Number 6, establishing knowledge and research centers. Set up a center of excellence for training and scholarships focused on reparations and racial healing. Launch educational programs like summer school and grants. Number 7.
So that's going to cost, family. Where's it coming from?
Our money. Our money. Every ounce of this is coming from our money.
And look at this, bullet 7, strengthen, it says build multi-stakeholder partnerships, strengthen collaborations between civil society, governments, religious organizations, and the diaspora, to advance reparation justice.
Yep. I want to address this person right here. It says this is division and confusion, and there's only one who is the author of it. Folks, do your own research and studies. This is what we're doing. We're going to African Union, the African Union's website. This is what they're saying. We're not saying anything. We're not adding anything to it. We're just showing our people what the plan is when it comes to our money, what's owed to us as a people. So the confusion is not us. The confusion is on the other side of the house. And that's dealing with that. So I just wanted to say that. I want to call it out. Because it's sickening, and then it looks as if they're probably from Africa itself, but it's sickening that they want us to stay asleep to this conversation, and we hand everything, our legacy, over to them. They won't respect our legacy. We would have to forget our legacy.
And see, and this is where I'll to your point, to give further pushback. We don't have to be part of any organization. We don't have to be part of the African Union. We don't have to be part of any organization that's here in the United States. We don't have that. That is our choice. That is not being divisive. You know, I got love for our people, period. But I'm not going to be part of any organization, period. We've been there and done that. Yeah. In this country, how many organizations call themselves representing us? From religious organizations to startup organizations that supposedly be free from these religious circles, and who basically got the priority. Who benefited from it? The NAACP was created by the Jewish community. Mm-hmm. You know, even the laws that was passed, many of the things that they passed, like what's that? I can't think of some of the what's the thing for that? I can't think of it. Affirmative action. Who benefited the most from it?
Asian Americans, Caucasian women.
You know what I mean? Everything that they supposedly created for us, we didn't benefit from it.
Yep.
So I could care less about, any of these organizations. I could care less about being part of this organization or any other organization. I care about the welfare of our people, whatever we come up with, to further push our plight as far as being unified. But I don't care to be part of these organizations. And especially when I know that many of them don't truly understand our plight because they were not enslaved.
Yep.
So, yeah, sis, you hit it on the nail right there, especially right there where it says collaboration between civil society. And I'm like, okay, what's the definition of civil? Because when I think about civil, it takes me back to slavery, right? Correct. What was deemed to be civil was the Negro that was enslaved and basically embraced slavery. What was considered to be uncivilized was those that continue to fight against being enslaved. So what is civil society? Governments. Now we're getting right back into the Babylonian system.
Yep.
And we're supposed to be what? Separating ourselves?
Correct. Y'all, and I'm hearing a couple of people saying somebody else did a teaching on this. Y'all, this is why you have to check even me and Pastor Kelly. Anything we present to you all, go look for it yourselves. Quit looking at us on these YouTube channels. And this is not to y'all, but I'm just saying in general for anybody that may get a hold to this, because I know our people are very well learned, but don't just listen to us. Go and do your own research. Look into the AU. Figure out what the AU is doing. Figure out how the AU is trying to pull African Americans in. Figure out how this is going to impact us in the long run. Don't listen just to us, because we may be operating either in error or deception or in our own bias, and may be presenting something to you that may not be what it is. Look into it. Look into it. When I get off of this, when I close tonight, I pinned the AU. Somebody asked, where can I get this? I pinned the site in the at the top of the chat with the AU's information and what they're planning to do with your reparations if we buy into this. Look it up for yourself. I have nothing to hide. Pastor Kelly has nothing to hide. We ain't got nothing to hide. We're going to call it what it is. Go look it up for yourselves and make your own righteous decision before you say anything about, well, such and such. Quit listening to everybody and just taking it as a law, because this is where we fall short as a people. Read it for yourself. If any teacher tells you you got to believe them and not go do your due diligence, question them. Question everything that falls out of their mouth, because what they're doing is it is a device of control. So if you ever hear somebody say, hey, such and such and such and such, I'm teaching this and I'm right. All of us say it's been days that I've been right. And I've been days that I've been wrong. Same thing with Pastor Kelly. Same thing with Benaiah Israel. Same thing with all of us. And I'm just calling names out off the top of my head. All of us have been wrong and right at sometimes. But the thing is, we're human. Go and read it. Look at it. Ask questions. Hold people accountable. Accountability is very important. People look at us as if we're leaders and we know everything. We don't. We're human. And we make mistakes. So I'm seeing people say that what they learned today from someone else is not what I'm saying now. And I'm glad y'all saw this, because y'all going to get to see the big picture. But even if I'm wrong, go read it and then come back to say, Sister E, I don't think it's saying that. I'm going to go back and look at it again. I might not agree. I might say, well, no, that's not what it is saying this. But go do your due diligence. Read it for yourself. I never give you anything and don't give you the link of where I got it from.
And think about this, family. To your point, Sister E, some of this jargon, some of the stuff that they have here, you may not be familiar with it, like stakeholders. This is like project management verbiage that Sister E and I, have dealt with and worked as PM. So when you see that, you can easily pick up on the verbiage here. But if you're not familiar with it, Google it. Don't be ashamed. Google it. And as Sister E pointed out, look, I had to a number of times change my course in terms of realize that I was wrong. Especially, that's what it took me getting out of that Christian church to say, you know what, man, I was wrong. I was wrong about the theologies that I embrace. I was wrong about a lot of stuff, including the grace doctrine. So I'm saying all of this to say, family, just in agreement with Sister E, vet the information. Go and read it for yourself. That's why she has it up on the screen. She dropped the link inside the comment section. Read it. And again, if there's something that you're not familiar with, Google it. You have the resources in front of you. Go ahead, Sissy. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Because I'm going to close up in just a second, because it's creeping on 11:30 and it's time for me to go to bed. But we got number 7, which is build multi-stakeholder partnerships, strengthen collaboration between civil society, government, religious organizations, and the diaspora to advance reparatory justice. Resource mobilization. It says secure sustainable funding through initiatives like the AU Global Fund on reparations. These things right here, y'all, look into this. look into it, research. So right here, read this part. It says having reparations for Africans and people of African descent offers the AU the opportunity to take leadership on the Africa reparation agenda, as well as bring together the African citizenries and the African diaspora to build a common and unified front for the cause of justice and payment for reparation to Africa, to Africans for historical crimes. Y'all read this. This finna make y'all say, "What? It's really."
And look at this, the middle paragraph, the third to the last sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where it says go right there where it says Union Commission on International Law, the Pan African Parliament. Pan African. It's a lot there, family.
It is.
And
Yes.
the question that you have to ask too: what do they know that we don't know? For this to start springing up, are they in on some conversations that we don't know, that there's a reparation package that could be signed this year?
Yep.
And so putting this together so that way they can try to swoop in and say, hey, we're going to be the leaders or those that's going to manage this whole initiative. So any money's release it to this organization, and they can say, well, we are the ones that's going to represent divvying it out.
I want to keep my word. I'm gonna ask Doug. Doug said he wanted to come up here. I'm gonna keep my word and let him come up here for a second. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm not gonna be up here long because y'all, I'm trying to get back into the pace of things, and I'm already getting sleepy, so I'm trying to pace myself so I can keep this momentum, because I don't think this conversation is going to end. I think this is going to lead to something else, a deeper conversation. But the more they do, the more it's going to be revealed of what their true initiative is, what their goal, what their ultimate goal is. Their goal is not in support of, but to take leadership of. It's a big difference with saying I support African Americans in getting their reparations. I would love to partner with them to see what we can do together to collaborate once y'all get y'all monies, to see how we can all invest and grow. That's another conversation. Meaning, once Pastor Kelly get his check, once I get my check, once my daughter gets her check, once Sheila gets her check, once Angie everybody get their check, we have our own checks in our accounts. Then they coming to us saying, okay, we want to build a partnership. Come over here, buy some land, invest. We're going to start working together. We're going to build a partnership, and we're going to have some type of contract to say that we are in partnership with you. That's a different. They're saying, no, we don't want to talk to you as an individual. We want the check to come to us, and you come to us, and we make the decision on what you want to do with the money. I don't let them trick us. I'm glad that the Most High exposed this. And Pastor Kelly can tell you, I've been saying I want to do a live, y'all, but I'm not led yet. Let me find something that I'm being led to speak about. And I've been kind of chilling in the cut. And Pastor Kelly can tell you, he'd been like, sis, you need to go live. Whenever you're ready, go live. And today I called him. I said, yep, I'm going live. I got to talk about this, because I'm being pushed to bring this out in the open for people to see it, because I was talking to other people about it. People in our community were unaware of what was going on.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm good. I'm gonna go to bed. Pastor Kelly, do you have anything in close? But let me say this, family. Well, go ahead, and I'm gonna let you say in close.
Well, I'll just say, just to reiterate a key point that you made, family, go back and read over this. Go back and read over it, because we're living in what is called the information age, and there's no reason why anyone should be solely dependent on one individual, or let's just say Sister E and myself. You have access to this information. Read over it, because it's imperative for you to understand. And I know how in this awakening the position is on dealing with politics, and definitely understand. We understand, but you still have to be familiar with what's going on in these political circles, these political arenas like this right here. So this is not encouraging you to say go vote and all that other stuff. No, you need to know what's going on in these political circles, because these things can come back and affect us. So I encourage you guys, go back and on your downtime, read this information here, and we're going to discuss it more. This is not going to be the last time we discuss this, but read over it so that way you get an understanding of what's being discussed, because I know Sister E going to discuss this again. So at least you're familiar with some of the additional information she's going to bring out. So be encouraged, family. Can't go back, can't stay here. We have to keep moving forward.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Kelly. Thank you. Y'all, this is interesting. I come back on this. I'm gone for a couple of months, and then I say, yep, it's going to be my first live. Every single time I plan to do a live, or I wanted to do the live, I said, no, I'm not led to do it, and I'll shut the live down in the middle. And this right here was the first time I felt the nudge to do this. I said, I'm going to do this. And I am going to bring it to my people, because we're unaware. We're unaware of what's going on. So with that being said, this is what I want y'all to be is informed of decisions that are being made or discussions that are being had about you. Because obviously you are important to somebody. They are talking about you in rooms and trying to make a decision on what they're going to do because they see something coming. And I agree with Pastor Kelly. They see something coming. This is why this is starting to have some momentum to say, okay, we got to hurry up and get them to buy into this. Because that year of great return failed miserably. What I told Doug to come up, he said no, he didn't want to come up. Doug said he said that he was gonna let me go to bed. I'm gonna do another one on this. This ain't gonna be the last discussion. I sent Doug, come on, you can come up. But with that being said, y'all, more discussions coming on this. I'm gonna probably try to do something a little earlier, because like I said, I'm just I'm pacing myself, so I won't tire myself out too much. But y'all just make sure y'all aware. Watch, pay attention to what's being said about you. See what's going on behind the scenes, because you are the discussion point right now, because they see something coming and they know something's coming.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if Doug's not coming on, I'll do something this week and make sure Doug is able to come up and he brings his point. I know Doug has a channel as well. It's 8:30 there, but you must be East Coast. I mean, you're West Coast. I'm East Coast, so it's 11:45 for me here. So, somebody said, "Are you going to do a live about this?"
Yeah, definitely going to do that.
Yep.
We'll do it this probably Thursday or Friday, but we're definitely going to do a live about this. And this really connects to a thought that I've had for a while. It's just, I know you've probably seen it too. It's like we're starting to see more and more people come out the woodwork from within our community, just kind of saying some things and putting things out there that are head scratchers.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, what is the agenda? So definitely we're going to talk about it. And I want to see how it connects to the 5 hot wings.
Did you say 5 hot wings? You know what? You are something else. Yeah, I'm kicking him off my channel now. But yeah, thank y'all so much for coming out. I was a little tired, but I'm glad that I did this, because I want people to be informed of what's going on. And I'll see y'all at another time. Y'all have a good one. Y'all bless.
All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we going deep. Love talk, sister E. God's work,